Here is a bling bling string bag we have made from the impressions embossed leather with a floral print and a chestnut highlighter stain. Here's an example of the various impressions leather finished with various colors and finishes. One of the more popular sizes for these string bags is one that's about 7 inches by 7 inches. So I've drawn some lines on this cardboard. It's 7 inches wide, and here I've drawn another one at 7 inches, which will be the front, and then the one that goes on up to about 11.5 inches will be the one that's the back and the flap. So let's take a good sharp knife and we'll cut this out, and this will be our template to cut leather. You'll also notice that I have notched these corners. This will be on the flap. And now we have our pattern all ready to cut leather. I am going to use the impressions embossed leather that has the floral design, and so I have cut a straight line here already, so now I can just take my template and line up the two notches, and with a scratch awl I can mark the edges where I will cut. To cut the back and the flap, I have lined my pattern up on this straight edge, and I'll take the scratch awl and I will mark where my cut lines will be. And now I'm ready to cut my leather. And now I can just line up and use my straight edge to make the cuts. Notice that I'm cutting always with my straight edge on the inside as opposed to the outside. So if we make a miscut, it will usually be on the outside of the piece we're going to use. And this is our pocket. We will now cut the other part. I have decided to use some of the chestnut tan highlight stain to color my leather. So I will take a piece of sheep wool and I will rub it generously over the top. Making sure that I get complete coverage. And making sure I get down in all of the impressions. Then I will immediately take a piece of paper towel that I have folded into a pad, and I will skim over the surface with this. Not rubbing too hard because I want to have my pattern to stand out. And it'll do that nicely if that's all we do is just rub over the surface. Then we can set this aside to dry. I have decided to put several conchos on here, and I'm going to use this particular one as a closer, which we'll show you how to make later. But in the meantime, I need to punch some holes, so I will push down and make a mark. that I can see. And then we will use the 1/4 inch punch and punch the holes for these conchos. And now I am fastening the conchos with the screws that are provided. Please note that this particular concho is made for thicker leather now. I'm not concerned about that because I'm going to have a piece of lace going around here which will be our closer. For these other two conchos, and this being a 4 to 5 ounce leather, I have made some washers out of leather, and I will punch the same size hole as I did for the concho, and then we can put these conchos through the leather and through the washer, and they will come out just right. If you are concerned about these conchos coming loose anytime in the future, just put a drop of leather weld glue in the opening, and just attach your screw like you normally would. To make provisions for my leather tie for the closer, I will punch 2 holes right in the middle, as you can see here. At this time, I'm going to glue the front to the back, and first thing I'll do is lay it in place, and with a pencil I will mark the 2 areas at the top. This is where our glue line will stop. So now I'm going to use the contact cement, and I will start right here at my mark and make a glue line about 1/4 inch wide all the way around the sides and the bottom only. And I will apply cement to the sides and the bottom only of the front piece. I have allowed the cement to dry until it's tacky, and now I will very carefully place my parts together, and then simply press. Now I will take a knife or a shears and just cut about 1/4 inch off of these corners so as to round them slightly. I have decided to lace this with a 1/8 inch leather lace whip stitch, so I'll put a guideline around the edge about 3/16 inch in from the edge. Now I will punch with a 4-prong and a single-prong thonging chisel, and I will start in the corners with a hole diagonally across the corner. Now I will take my 4-prong chisel and punch holes all the way around. As you can see, I have finished lacing around the edge with the whip stitch, and now I'm going to take a piece about 12 inches long of suede lace, and I'm going to go in these holes we punched earlier for our closer. Notice I'm using a needle, which is one of the lifetime needles. This will make it a lot easier to go through these holes. Now you'll notice I went through the hole up and back. Now we'll pull the flap over and hook this under that concho. And this is how we will keep it closed. Now, after removing the needle, I'll tie a simple overhand knot with the 2 strands of lace and pull it up tight. And then this will be our closer. All you have to do to open it is unbutton it, and to close it, you can button it up again. And if you want, pull down, and it's secure. At this time, we can add some more bling if you'd like, and I would like to add some rhinestones. To do that, I'll take some leather weld and put it onto a piece of scrap leather, and with a tweezers, I'll pick up a rhinestone and get just a very little bit of the glue and then drop it where you want. Now you'll see some white glue out around the rhinestone. Do not be concerned because it will dry clear. So we'll add some more. And we can add as many of these as you want. And this is how our bag looks after we have applied some bling to it. Now you can add as much bling and as much glitz on there as you'd like. I'd like to now open it up, and I will take a 1/4 inch round drive punch, and I'll punch 2 holes right near the top, as you can see, one on either side. I have cut a piece of 1/8 inch suede lace. You could also use latigo lace. I've cut it about 6 feet long, and I will now push it through this hole from back, or from the outside to the inside. I will simply tie an overhand knot in like this. Now I will do the same thing to the other side. Tie an overhand knot. And now, after we close the bag, we have our string, which will serve as a shoulder strap. It can simply be tied off shorter to fit the size that you would like.